All right, folks, I've started the recording for the 2024 live webcast. Joseph Kursky, your host. I'm really glad that you're here, folks. I regard myself as your cheerleader, your supporter in your government agency, your nonprofit, your academic work, your school, your industry partner, or otherwise. Wherever you happen to be working, I truly regard you folks very highly. We've got a lot of people in our world that say they want to change the world for the better. You folks in the geospatial technology industry, you actually are doing that. You are making positive change happen from local to global scale. You're thinking spatially, you're thinking holistically, and that's exactly what we need to solve our perplexing, complex problems in our world that are increasingly affecting our everyday lives. That's why we use GIS. I would like to show this slide right here. Probably some of you recognize it. This is a slide that typically is shown by Jack Dangerman, ESRI CEO and president, about our world challenges. I want to start GIS Day, which is a wonderful celebration, on a sort of a dour note. But just as a reminder that we're not just using GIS because it is a very interesting technology, that it is. We're not just using GIS because it provides wonderful career pathways for students and others, even mid-career types. It's never too late to get into GIS. It is all that as well. More importantly, we're using geospatial technology to make smarter, wiser, holistic, sustainable, equitable, resilient solutions, right? Decisions. That's why we're using GIS because, frankly, some of these variables, whether it's habitat loss, urban sprawl, and others, are going in the wrong direction. So we've got to reverse those to be charting a sustainable future. Hence, geospatial technology, the whys of where, spatial thinking are all important. I think many of you know that I serve on the ESRI education team. I actually have several hats that I'll describe, not to bore you to tears, but hopefully as a word of encouragement. But I serve on the education team along with some many fine colleagues of mine, one of whom is here right now, Mike Gould. But the point is, our team is completely dedicated to helping you be successful with geospatial technologies in your teaching, your instruction, whether it's K-12, primary, secondary, university, community, technical, tribal college, higher education, on your campus facility, in your campus facility, doing research with geospatial technology. We are complete after school programs. We're completely focused on
Okay.
supporting education. So that's why we're here. That's exactly why we're here. And so please, if there's anything that we can do to help you in your journey, and it is a journey, it's not click, click, click. Oh, I've learned GIS now in a month or a year. I've been using GIS, as I described before the session started officially, since the 20th century, before many of you were born. And I'm still learning. That's what's one of the intriguing things about GIS is there are always new things to learn. And there's always new people to meet because there are, as is evident here, new people joining the field. So we welcome you. So the education team has existed since 1992. We are very well supported by Jack Dangerman and others here at ESRI. And we, again, are completely focused on developing curriculum, serving on advisory boards, helping you chart the pathway is what should I teach? When should I teach GIS? How should I teach GIS? Especially as it rapidly evolves with GeoAI and other tools that we'll talk about here in the next 3 hours. Just kidding, we don't have 3 hours. We only have 60 minutes. That is our goal and our mission. And we take it very seriously, and we're very happy to be a part of the community for these many years. My own pathway, I'm going to share here ever so briefly, not to bore you to tears, but to encourage you hopefully in two ways. One, you don't have to stay at the same organization your whole career. There's nothing that's not noble about that because we know many people in the field that have stayed at the same organization. They're at NASA, they're at NOAA, they're at a university, and they've been there for decades, and that's great. But I wanted to share with you that I've been very blessed to be in four different sectors of society: nonprofit, academia, private industry with ESRI on my education hat, with my education hat on, and also in government agencies, NOAA, Census Bureau, and U.S. Geological Survey. So you don't have to stay in the same organization your whole career. I hope that's one point of encouragement. The second point of encouragement is that geospatial technology and spatial thinking are going to be helpful in no matter where you end up in your career, no matter what pathway you pursue. These tools will be helpful in health, in social work, in engineering, in planning. So I'm hoping that's encouraging in two different ways. All right, very good. I also wanted to demonstrate ever so briefly what geospatial technology is, because I realize that in a webinar situation like this, or if you happen to share it with a friend or family member or loved one, because that's what this intent of this webinar is, not to be overly technical. It's meant to for you to actually share it with others. And yes, it will be archived, and I will put it on my Our Earth YouTube channel. And it is a story map, as I'll share here in the chat box. I'm going to put that here right now. This story map, and some of you have probably used story maps. They're multimedia web maps, and that is the link to the story map. Now, this story map has links that I'm not going to be able to cover. I've got more things packed in there that I will be able to uncover in the next 55 minutes. So please use that as a resource, and also the recording going forward. But since we have a diversity of people attending, I wanted to demonstrate what GIS is in one way. And I want you, as I know there's many educators on here, to put your educational hats on, thinking about how do you explain what GIS is to your students, to people out next to you on the airplane, on an elevator, etc. This is one way of doing it, and you'd let me know what you think of this. So in this particular blog essay that I also have as a story map, as you can see here, the three parts of GIS: the geographic, the information, and the systems part. I have a spreadsheet here that's a Google Sheet, and I have it linked to a map. So if I go into this essay, and you could do a search on these specific terms that I have right here in this window: GIS demonstration, the G maps, and the system part, all of those things. So I've got this spreadsheet here. If I put, okay, let's put a new point in here, 48 north minus, why am I putting minus? Because it's the Western Hemisphere. So think about the Cartesian coordinate system. The Western Hemisphere is left of the y-axis. It is left or west of the prime meridian. So I'm going to put 112.0. Okay, and I'm going to put in here 48, 112. Fascinating. Okay, where is that? Where am I? Okay, and I'm going to put that that was a pretty interesting place. And I'm going to give it a 9 because outstanding in its guess this location. And now I'm going to put in my photograph that I have at that. I'm going to copy the image address, and I'm going to go back to that particular spreadsheet. I'm going to put that in here. So you see, I've built a spreadsheet here with a photo URL, a latitude and a longitude, and then some description in there. So now, as I've updated that, it's saved. It's a Google Sheet, and now I'm going to scroll down to my map, and I'm going to give it a moment or two, because it takes a little while for the Google Sheet to talk to ArcGIS Online, which is where this is located. So we'll come back to this in a moment, but this is one way of explaining. The G part is the map or the satellite image, the drone image. It could be 2D or it could be 3D. The I part is the information behind the map, and the S brings them together. So you can map the intermittent streams versus the perennial streams. You could say, I want to look at areas in my community where the median age is X and the median income is Y. So you can do queries on not just the spatial part, but the attribute part, which is the spreadsheet. So think of the spreadsheet as a geo spreadsheet, a geo database that's linked to a map. And that's just fascinating to me to be able to do that. So we're going to come back to that in a moment. All right, that's one way of explaining what geo technologies are. Okay, so this is the night before GIS Day, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even my computer mouse. Ooh, that was a little jingle for you. What about this one? GIS Day, so good to me. GIS Day, it was all I hoped it would be. That was so bad. No, Joseph, please stop. Okay, so that's one explanation of what GIS is: the G part, the I part, and the S part. And the second aspect of this is, remember, it's a decision-making tool to make smarter, wiser, more sustainable decisions about our communities, our regions, our countries, our world. So that's two aspects of it. The other aspect that I wanted to bring out here is this community right here. You all y'all, ustedes, vous, tú, okay, making a positive difference. Yes, there's hardware. We'll talk about that. There's software. We'll talk about that. I've been using ArcGIS Online just now and Google Sheets. So there's some software bits that we could chat about, methods, but most importantly, people. People are what make the difference with GIS. The very passionate, energized, committed, expert community of geospatial practitioners, some who have been using GIS for decades, like me and some of my colleagues on here, and some of you are brand new to GIS. And again, we welcome you and we value your input. Speaking of the new people, especially, although you can be a seasoned GIS professional and still join something called the YPN, the Young Professionals Network. YPN. We have a blog. It's free to join. We have a blog, we have a community, we have people attending meetups. I went to a YPN community meetup in Denver about a month ago at the Denver Regional ESRI office, met some wonderful people. But I've written some blogs, some essays in here, including 10 pieces of career advice, which I hope is actually helpful to you all. 10 pieces of career advice. Networking is what you're doing here this evening. Gain content knowledge, understand foundations, think critically, read, write, get outside, field work, ask questions, think spatially, and consider GIS as a whole platform notion. You can read more about all those headings in that 10 pieces of career advice. I have another one in the YPN space called The Ethical Young Professional. What do I mean by that? There's a lot of ethics that goes into making maps, and increasingly people are realizing that all of these decisions that go into making maps and geovisualizations, infographics, etc., have implications because as we share the maps and apps that we make nowadays, they influence people's opinion or judgment about a certain thing, whether it's natural hazards or population change or anything else. So take those responsibilities that you have as a map maker, a cartographer, a GIS professional, when you're sharing that content out with the public, especially, or even with your own board of directors, your county commissioners, anybody, take that responsibility seriously and think about the implications of how you classify data, what projection you use, what colors you choose, the filtering that you use, etc., and how you share it, how you attach text to it, for example, in a story map. All of that has ethical and profound implications. So don't be too nervous about, oh gosh, Joseph, you're making me too nervous about sharing anything. No, no, share things. That's the power of modern web-based geospatial technology, but be thoughtful about it. It's easy to be going click, 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 and making a map nowadays. And speaking of which, I have a short demonstration here